All right, good evening, everybody. We are back again, episode 49, that winning feeling. Our own Blair Cooper gets his first sprint car win ever. So we'll dive into that, as well as talk about ASCS Western Plains and National Tour points update and a bunch of other good stuff. So let's get started.
This is the Throwin Sliders podcast with Blair and Brandon.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to episode 49, that winning feeling. Again, we're not a political podcast by any stretch, but felt like that was deserving. Obviously, won't get into everything going on in the world, but we just, as it relates to racing, we all can, get along whether you're dirt, asphalt, no matter what class you run in. So just keep that in mind. And rest in peace to Mr. Charlie Kirk. So with that, we are back again. We're winding down in the season as far as podcast and that race. I don't want to include myself in that statement, but got Blair Cooper fresh off his first ever win at Pueblo, his home track. So we're going to dive into that. But first round of applause. That's awesome. Hopefully everybody in the background is clapping as well, but excited to get the 411 on everything that happened. And then, we're just going to dive into ASCS points. Obviously, the Western Plains has basically one more race this weekend at El Paso County Raceway, and talk a little bit about the National Tour as well. So we'll get right into that. But first, as always, give a shout out to Racing Rowdy Ranch. If you can see it behind me, we got still some cool hats. Last time I was with Blair, we didn't get an opportunity to kind of showcase those at the track, so apologies for that. But you know where to go, racingrowdyranch.com. Support those who support us, and get you some merch. And they're badass hats. So those who have some already know the deal. And if you're new to the podcast or watching for the first time, definitely go check that out. So we'll play the ad, and Mr. Blair is going to give us a thorough rundown of what occurred on Saturday night.
Racing Rowdy Ranch was created with one person, one adjective, and one place in mind: the blue-collar racer and the crew behind the scenes, a word that can describe these racers and crews and how they live. Finally, a place where the straightaways and turns are these racers' pastures and hills, all bordered by concrete walls that could share more than their fair share of memories, even after several coats of paint. We are racing. We live rowdy, and we long to be at the ranch, riding for the brand. An apparel company designed to showcase just that, push the limits every day, and be proud of who we are. Visit racingrowdyranch.com now to order yours today. Saddle up, strap in, and live rowdy. Proud presenting partner of Scrubbin' Tires Media and the Throwin Sliders podcast.
I just want to do a shout out to our, I guess we'll call them our everydayers, every weekers, if you will, but also shout out to the people that when we created Racing Rowdy Ranch, went out, bought a hat, and are still wearing it to this day. Shout out to Blair's father-in-law, Tom. Every single time I see him, has the Hoosier rendition of it. Been through the wash machine, even though I strongly advise you don't do that. But it's, so shout out to you guys that are still rocking the brand. Very much appreciate that. So, Mr. Blair, the floor is yours. It was kind of weird timing, I guess. Call it fate, but I was actually creating this episode, and I was literally had my thumbs on my phone, about ready to text you to say, how'd it go? Going to look up on Race Pass. And then lo and behold, he sends me a picture of the trophy. And my first instinct was, well, I don't want to jump the gun, do I ask, was it a win? Was it a
Stole it,
podium?
ran away with
Yeah,
it.
he stole it. Yeah, all the things. But yeah, so that was kind of cool that we were thinking about it at the same time. But yeah, take it away.
Well, it was a weird day to start it. It looked like it was going to rain down here. And it ended up being really nice. So we figured we'd go try it out. I actually had thought about not going. But a few guys texted me and said, hey, let's go, make sure we hit it. Because the problem was, and I'm hoping, and we've actually even talked about this next year, because the only thing that was a little disappointing is it was only a handful of cars. Car counts were down. It became this race got rescheduled. So it was a non-points race. Guys are starting to wind down or they're finishing up in their series elsewhere. So that was a little bit of we knew it was going to be a little bit low, but gamble on it. But I say kudos to Alan and all the guys out at Honor. They said it's a guaranteed purse, whether we get 2 cars or 20 cars. And they stuck to that. So, I thought if it was just going to be some 305s or something, to get your first win, I honestly didn't want to, not saying that would happen, but I didn't want to just race against guys with, lesser cars and stuff. I want to go and race with the guys that I'm had trouble beating. And luckily I heard Trimble was going and that crew. And so I figured, it's hometown. It's like 8 minutes from my house. So let's go out there and see what we can do. The track, they've been improving that thing all the way around. It's actually a really fun place to race. And they had it, it had rained here, so it was really wet and it was a little bit sloppy for a while. They rolled it in.
So can I jump in real quick?
Sure.
I saw a post on social. I don't know who it came from, but it was asking, I think it was a driver, sprint car driver, asking, can we go back to the old school way of prepping a track, which would be disking it, right? And then allowing moisture and kind of layering it, if you will, doing that over and over and over again. I'm not a track prep, aficionado here and don't pretend to be, but have you noticed, because I have never seen a disc, like a tractor pulling a disc, like even in a big one, a single one, triple, whatever the case is. I'm not a farmer either, but have you noticed a difference since they kind of went away from that and just kind of use sheep's foot, that kind of thing?
Well, as far as, are you talking specifically like out here at Honor?
Just anywhere. Like I haven't seen, however many sprint car races I've been to in my life, I've never seen the disc, and maybe that happens well before they open the pick dates or whatever. I don't know, but
yeah, usually discing will start after. Some
Danny
places
Dietrich.
it's,
there you go.
Danny Dietrich, exactly. Maybe on Mondays or Tuesdays they start tearing it up, then start working it, start watering in that week. Some places they're on it maybe from Tuesday on. It just depends. They don't get torn up as much around here. Excuse me, but you will see. I know at Honor they've disked it before. I'm sure 76 and some of those places around here, but a lot of places we go, they'll either disc it or bring it up. But I think it has become less common in a lot of places. And Danny Dietrich was referencing Pennsylvania because, for one, it's a ton of work, to pay a guy to go out there and tear them up. But the problem he's even talking about is tracks taking rubber. If they don't really mix that in or tear some of the top dirt out that's got rubber in, it makes it easier to rubber up soon. So yeah, it still goes on some places. As far as like for Pueblo this week, I know it seems like the track's been really good when they bring out a box drag. And that track has actually got really sticky. It's a weird soil. We're kind of in the desert, but there's clay in it. It's kind of like, I would say almost some loamy and then some sand, and it's a big mixed grab bag, but when it's good, it's great. The shape of that track and everything is awesome. So I do think you're right, though. There's probably not as many places disc it, and I'm guessing just because the work, and it's hard to get the surface without having bumps and stuff in it again.
Sure.
And even Pueblo with all the rain, it was a little rough. Like, it started out really smooth. It had a ton of water in the bottom. I don't know if you've seen it. They got a giant machine now that rolls it in. Oh, it's monstrous sprayer. I mean, the front tires on it are probably 6 feet tall and 5 feet wide. So, that part of it's good, but just fighting the moisture, it got a little rough, which gave it some character. And, I actually didn't mind it, but it was funny because Trimble went around me in the heat race and I could see how free and nice and free his car was going through the ruts and everything. And mine would pick up the front tires and set them down. And I thought, we got our work cut out, and we went and ran, took the 4-wheeler out with my buddy Jason Woods and started looking at it, and you could just see all the character in it. And so
congrats, Jen, by the way. So she got snagged another one.
Yeah. So Jason and I, that's what we said, we're going to have to take trips on the 4-wheeler. He's really good at reading dirt. And we talked about the pre-show, I'm colorblind. So, I mean, I can see dark moisture. That's one thing. If it's really dark, I'm like, well, this is, it's just, then I'll look at the light shining off the shadows. But me telling the nuances of dirt is not really my specialty, being so colorblind. But Yeah. So anyway,
I
the
guess
heat
that
crank
would
bike was
that
bouncing
that would
around.
make it difficult to read a track when you're colorblind.
Yeah, the weird thing is like, so say we went to Gillette, the track has black streaks on it, even
Mhm.
though it's like super slick. So I see tan and black, right? But I'm like, how black is? So we actually have to go physically
How black is
walk
black?
on it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you could see the tan between it. I'm like, for me to learn to read it, once I've seen it, I can go back and compare. Like I'm like, oh, this looks the
Mhm.
same as this or that, or but it's a little bit. And in the car, I don't really struggle because you just see the different colors, like where the moisture is. That's not hard, so I don't really struggle um, with that. But yeah, it was interesting. So yeah, my car was almost wanting to pull the front tires, and so he walked away in the heat, and we got her freed up enough that in the main, I was a little bit worried because as soon as they threw the green flag and went shit, or we're looser than shit, and I just trunked the
Mhm.
wing and the car came right to me, which I hate doing because I'm like, damn, if this thing does slick off, I'm already out
Mhm.
of reach. But
Yeah.
luckily, it held moisture, came back up through the track, and yeah, we just Adam and I went to war for 20 laps. It was a hell of a race. So he's always good. And I mean, that team, I got a lot of respect for those guys. We talk about them a lot on here. And
It's
if you're
because
going to beat
I
somebody,
stole their notes on shock dialing at El Paso. Now we know what they're doing.
yeah. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, anytime you show up and those guys or Gossels or any of your mainstays here are going to be tough. And it finally felt good to have a decent car. It's like something I could race.
So you're slowly but surely becoming, I don't know what the nickname would be, Rocket Man or something, because your rotor's always glowing. And I've, obviously we heard comments in El Paso. You were saying in the pre-show that it kind of happened again. Like, I guess for those maybe that don't know why that happens, because if you watch, like we were talking in the pre-show, also, if you watch a national tour race or high limit, whatever, and even local, right? Like, it happens and it's appealing to the eye because it's dark and this thing's like a ball of fire underneath you. And you're like, holy shit, what's going on with that car? And I was the same way years back when I first started watching sprint car racing, but now it's just kind of a norm, I guess, if you will. So talk us through that for maybe some of the viewers that are like, oh my God, the 32 car is going to explode or catch on fire.
Yeah, I think it's just, I don't think a lot of people that I've seen around, and maybe for good reason, they don't, the titanium brakes came out and they became the new thing because everybody's trying to save rotating weight. And for me,
Smith Tie has a cool logo too, I might add.
Yeah, which I have Willwood, but because
Right.
it's a lot cheaper and good product too. But I mean, I would love to run the Smith, try it, but it's just, it's like, geez, how much are you going to spend every week? But yeah, so I mean, there's really three options of rotors. And when I had steel rotors when I got the car, it wasn't probably so much the rotor, it was the pad that came with it. I'd never seen a sprint car in person or even looked inside one besides them going around on the racetrack a couple times. So hell, I had no idea, and I didn't know how good the brakes were supposed to work, but they had way too hard of a pad in mine. So I'm like, well, I got to do something because it's really something that I never would have imagined is how much you need the brakes in a dirt sprint car. And I think it was actually on here before I was ever on the show, you were talking to Jake Buback, and he said that he went through a set of pads a night. I'm like, well, obviously he's got something figured out. Maybe I need to learn how to use the brakes, because before I was just trying to launch the thing in sideways, let it do it all with air and mechanical grip. And it worked out okay the first year. But when you go with faster and faster guys, when you start traveling, they're not driving like that. You got to really make the car.
And not that it's a comparison, it's apples to oranges, if you will, but we were talking with your brother down at El Paso and Keaton about iRacing. And, when you're racing, like the thing we put on last year in the wintertime, the mini stocks at I-55, which ironically are enough, the national tour is going this weekend. But, in those little mini stocks, like you didn't really need it unless you were avoiding trying to stay off someone's bumper. But like I've never driven a sprint car in real life, but I just, to your point, like I cannot, like your first instinct is to steer it left and just hammer down and get it sideways set and, try to hang on and then throttle out. But my mind is like, I don't need the brake, but you do need to brake. And so I feel that struggle, even though I've never done it in real life, but I struggle in this practical example of iRacing. I can't do it. So I get it.
Well, It's funny too, because like early at a lot of these places we go, I mean, hot laps, if it's got what we call the hero dirt where that thing's just loaded up and ready to rock it around. Yeah. I mean, I may not even touch them. In fact, I'll hold them back. Like if it's a qualifying around a big half mile or something where we've gone to, I'm actually making sure that pedal's not making contact. So I'll push it back the other way with my foot,
So
or just rest my heel
lifting
on
it up?
No, because the pedal's down and forward in the sprint car, so I'll actually just put my heel in or put the ball of my foot on it and pull back a little bit just to make sure there's no drag. Because I was we talked about that. I was having problems with, and we talked with Blake Hahn about the return spring on there. Well, I have that, but we did adjust the rod end on my master cylinder a little bit to make sure it was completely backing off. Because I mean, with the rotors glowing so much, it's like, damn, is my foot getting lazy on them? And you definitely in qualifying on a fast track, you don't want that to happen.
No, yeah.
Because like on asphalt too, a lot of guys don't know and that's more old school. I don't know how many still do it or if you need to in super lates with the brakes anymore, but guys will go down the straightaway and give the brake, even full throttle, just give them to make sure that you're loaded up on the pedal.
Yeah.
So
see that a lot in NASCAR. Yeah.
Okay. They're still doing it. So,
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's mainly like when you go, like, not switching gears here, but if they would go to a big track like a Pocono or something like that where brakes are huge, and it's more of a comfort thing too, because the last thing you want to do is sail it off into turn one and the brakes go to the floor. So they'll tap it slightly, just make sure they have pressure there. But I think to your point too, like, you hear a lot of guys dragging the brakes too in asphalt. But yeah, it's just, I guess I've never noticed, which obviously you can't see because they're 4-disc brakes or whatever on a stock car. But like Blair and I were talking about in the pre-show, like you do see it, in a NASCAR or a stock car. It just, you have to be going fast enough and the car has to be heavy enough and all those things. And obviously dark enough so your eyes can visually pick up on that. Cause if you're running like they were at Bristol this last weekend, if they're running a daytime race, you're probably not going to see that unless it's really, really bad. But it's just a weird, like, I think it was like, I don't know, 2-3 years ago when I really got heavy into sprint cars. I think I even texted you. I'd have to go look back and I'm like, Larson shit is like on fire. Like, what's going on? You're like, nah, it's fine. It's normal. And now it's like, you could hear the oohs and the ahs at El Paso 2 weekends ago. And yours was a little bit probably worse than, normal, if you will. But everybody, I don't think maybe had as much knowledge because they were like just watching that 32 car the whole time. Like, when's he going to explode, So.
Yeah, that was actually so hot. It wasn't good because when I went to the pits, it had literally boiled the brake fluid. And even there's a coating around my brake line and I have it zip tied against the edge of my breather hose on the rear end. So it's way away from the road and it just melted that stuff. So
I don't doubt it.
But that's another thing. I think that that's what I told everybody. It's like, I'm going to make the car turn. If you're racing, you're going to do anything you can to fix that poor condition, of the handling. And I may not always be fast, but that's one thing we've always kind of talked about is like, unless there's something, the motor, if you see low oil pressure flash or you're super hot, like you don't want to hurt anything. But I'm like, if the rotor's been hot before, I'm going to melt this down. We're almost done with the season. It is almost $1,000 rotor. So it's like I've gotten 9 nights out of it or something. So you can't just be wasting money. But I'm like, if we're running even decent, what did we ran third that night. So I'm like, I'll melt this thing and, hope if it holds up, we'll come back to the drawing board. But, I've at least tried to have that attitude about it. And people like it, but like to watch that thing glow, I guess, because that was the talk of the whole deal. But I think with like on asphalt, you have the 4 rotor. You got a brake to each wheel, whether it's an old school drum set on a rear of a street stock, but you can manipulate the car a little bit with brakes, especially if you have a bias controller on asphalt, front to rear, like a right front shut off.
Holy shit, does that matter? I found out firsthand.
Yeah.
Just even 2-3 clicks. That's a big deal.
Yeah. So, and like on asphalt, we always try to get as much rear brake as we could in the car without sliding it. I mean, that's really, let the car be free and turn. Without it feeling like you could slide a piece of paper underneath the rear tires. But on the dirt with the sprint car, you only have the 2. So when you stand on that pedal, it's going to make the left front turn. And when you're so tight it doesn't, then you got a problem, And so you start trying to manipulate your entries and stuff to back that corner up or get a wider sweeping entry into it. But Jesus, like that night, it didn't matter what I did. I was up against the wall. And then you go in and when you hit a rut and the car's loaded up on the right side, it wants to bike on you. You just can't fix that with brakes, but you can damn sure try, and pedals. Like I remember at one point I was like, Jesus, I am full tilt on both pedals. And this thing is just a bear to hang on to.
Yeah.
But, there's a lot going on.
No kidding. I was going to ask kind of, we talked about it. I think it was last week with Blake, kind of after he was off, but I had made the comment about your confidence, what I noticed. So take me through, did you start the night on Saturday kind of with that same, obviously I wasn't there, but did you start it off with like, hey, we got the car figured out? I feel like you obviously made the comment about what you felt kind of in hot laps and thought you were in trouble, but take us through kind of what led to just everything going, your way. Was it setup? Was it just confidence? Was it a mixture of track combination? Kind of walk us through that.
Well, I think the first thing was at Calhoun.
I'm a pit reporter right now, so I'm going to grill you and everything.
Well, yeah, I think it started with Calhoun that this new chassis is different. So it's supposed to be very, very similar to the one I had, which, I mean, honestly, it was supposed to be exactly the same, but they've changed a few things, even the way the cage sits. I'm tighter in the car. So some of the pickup points are a little different.
It's all that less weight because of your missing Zeus tabs.
Yeah. So the left side panel, I mean, it's a little bit different. And a new car, and I've heard this, I've never had a brand new sprint car chassis. So they say the car's a little tighter. That I mean, this one feels like it's rigid. It's not been flexed out or wrecked or anything like that. And that other one was a great chassis, but as far as that goes, it's a little bit different. But at Calhoun, after you and I went to that national tour show and it was so terrible, I thought, man, something's changed. And then we went to Dodge City and it still wasn't right. And if I've come to find out I had some bent parts still, throwing it together. I mean, and we're talking, I don't know if we discussed this, but like, a 32nd to a 16th of an inch on that Heim. A couple little things that actually Mark Mateka, he was working with my wife, teaching her some things. So, and she wants to learn rear ends and how to do all that. And so I went back through it. I tore the whole car apart again and started over. I was like, something's wrong. I found a couple pieces that, the ladder I'd replaced, but the Heim I hadn't. So that was kind of the start of it. Starting over, I knew everything was absolutely perfect. Front and rear end, torque tube, I checked to make sure it wasn't bent, even tweaked because I replaced the ball. But anyway, so that feeling after that night, we came back to Calhoun and I knew the car was square. So it was going to be nothing but suspension that would limit me. And when we had a decent run, that does help your confidence to be like, okay, we got these 2 races were absolute shit. And now we at least found some ground to where we just missed the setup a little bit. The car was working okay. So that brought me into Pueblo. And I think the next thing probably is like, everybody's got their job. So Tara and Tom know exactly what to do. They've been, but we can only do so much. And the only other problem is it was nice to have, like when we were at Calhoun, my brother there and you could watch the track. My brother's very good with setup. And then my dad on the driving end of it, he was a driver for so long, even though he was asphalt, he catches those little nuances. And basically he's not afraid to tell me, hey, this is what you're doing wrong. You need to figure this out, change it. Don't do this again. And just little shit like that. I mean, it helps so much to say, okay, he saw what I felt or what I thought I might have screwed up. Even like, so for instance, on the starts, I missed and Trimble made me pay for it in the heat race. And he had just told me not to do what I did. And so I carried that in, for the next time. But, even Mateka has told me, I actually ran the car out of fuel and my ego wouldn't let me just let it go because he was trying to help me. But I ran the car out of fuel and he says, hey, don't take it in there and let the car stumble on the motor if the high speeds, whatever, if you're not tuned up perfect, carry some run in there and we'll race. So in other words, you don't wad up the field. But anyway, I said, oh shit. And I did run it out of fuel or it was sputtering, but stuff like that. So we got all that bugs worked out. No, this was at Sweetwater.
I was going to say, it's because you're missing your fuel guy. That's why you ran out of fuel.
Yeah, no, we had plenty, but this was a heat race in Sweetwater. And, so all these people trying to help you. But anyway, back to my dad kind of helped me there. And then I always can jump on the phone with Rick after the heat race. I kind of knew what was wrong. And luckily it was a good thing that Adam got by me because I was like, I'm just going to focus on what his car's doing because I know where mine's bad and see kind of what the characteristics and maybe what I could adjust on mine to try to fight them off in the main. Cause they did, they ran away in the heat. I'm like, damn, here we go again. But we just put that away, went back to the drawing board. I figured out what we needed to do and I had a good car and that there's nothing that boosts your confidence. Like, hey, I can race this thing finally,
Yeah. I mean, it does. Like I think one of the best analogies I've ever heard, and I don't even know where I heard it, it's probably been said a million times, but the definition of a good driver is someone who can take a, however big the field is, for this, we'll say 30 cars. If you can take a 20th place car and finish in the top 10, that is the definition of a good driver, because more than not, if you're a decent driver and know what the hell you're doing, if you're in good stuff, the expectation is that you either win or finish top 3, top 5 every single race. But it's those guys, and I'm not, don't take this the wrong way, but you're not in the best equipment as compared to some of these other guys, but yet you're podium, excuse me, you might have an off night here and there where, you finish top 10, or Calhan 2 weeks ago, excuse me, a month ago, you don't make the show. But I think it's a tribute, if you will, to you to say, hey, I'm not in these $2 million rigs and have every single spare part times 3 on my car in the rig, but yeah, we're figuring it out. So I think that's hats off to you, because it takes a lot to have a car and finish sometimes better than it should, just based on knowledge and setup. So I guess is what I'm trying to say. So
yeah, no, and I agree with that. The one thing I've always thought, I've never been intimidated by, we've had nice rigs and all kinds of shit when we were on asphalt. And the one thing is you can only put one car on the racetrack and the parts that are on it, so I do have a really good motor. I've got a fresh chassis and I've got good parts on, but I know what you're saying.
Well,
yeah. I'm not putting new shit on all the time. And I think at the regional level, most of the, you get to national tour, they're running some parts and they got fresh motors, a lot more often than we do. But yeah, I think as far as that goes, whoever the other person is, like when Sammy comes, or when these big name guys, and that's never bothered me, because I'm like, if you have the car to do it, even a good race car is easy to drive. Then the problem becomes there's other guys with good race cars who are also as good or better than you, and then you can go to war with them. That
usually makes for a good race. Yeah, exactly.
That's so the best.
I think my other point too, in kind of remembering what you and I was dogging on you last week, jokingly, for kind of bringing it up with Blake, because he's, other than that win the other night, for him, before we had him on the show, he was kind of in that same rut. And if you want to call yours a rut, it's kind of happenstance that you brought that up. And now here you are winning your first race. So how does that, the question back to you that you asked Blake, how does that kind of, I guess, bleed into this weekend and, anywhere else you might race, or next season? How does that kind of help you?
I honestly don't know if I'm delusional a lot of times.
Probably.
Like, truly, because I think I love it so much that I think there's only been maybe once or twice I've gotten discouraged, and that lasted probably about an hour. It's like, I've chosen to do this.
I envy you for only making it last an hour.
Yeah, it's, I just figure we're going to move on. I've still got more races ahead. And I try not to carry it with me, because like Blake said, if you hit that slump, I think that came from baseball. You'd see it in hitting, it's like, all it takes is that one hit to get out of the slump. And then if you go 3 for 10 all the time, the pros are, so I've kind of looked at it that way. And I've had a lot of good people just say, you never get too high, never get too low, because you're not going to win, all the time. But I do think I also have really tried to take the absolute shit nights and find the most of what I learned from it, and really carry that. Like, I can drive a shit race car to the maximum of its ability. Now, that's not fun and it's not good, but even I'm like, well, my arms are in better shape. I learned something. I got to
always look for a silver lining.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that helps carry you through. And then also the people, I try not to let the people down that work on my car with me. It's like, if you go have a shit attitude, I've seen guys do that. It's like, it doesn't go their way for a while, and they throw an absolute tantrum. Helmets get thrown. And I don't like those guys generally. It's like, these guys busted their ass for you. You get to be the star of the show, and then you come back and that's like shitting on them. And I don't like that. I don't appreciate. So I just never wanted to be that guy. And I don't ever, when you are kicking ass, like, that hasn't been the case in this for me, but there's been times I've been on a pretty good streak. And if you start being an arrogant asshole too,
racing is very humbling.
Yeah. And that's like my friend Rick Lowry. He mentors me a lot, because they've done it so long and they did it at a high level. In fact, I owe him a big shout out. I call that guy at 10 o'clock at night. I call him on Sundays in the morning, to ask him anything, just try to get all his know. I'll ask anybody that I trust. that has helped me out. And I really try to take it to heart. But he said, that's the same thing. Never get too high when you're kicking ass and never get too low when you're down. And, so that mental for me, like I said, I think I'm a little bit delusional that I will eventually start winning races or, at least be competitive, because the other thing is, and I'm sure Blake's probably the same way. I mean, granted, they've got guys, but when it's just me, I figure I'll outwork everybody and outlearn. I don't have 20 years of experience behind me. I've been racing 10 years total now, and I've switched classes 3-4 times, three times. I mean, and driven other stuff, a lot of stuff along the way. But yeah, that part of it, you just have to know that hard work pays off, and learning, you just keep learning. And like we talked about too, I think I got a little bit in over my skis. It's like, oh damn, I've learned so much, because it's been obsessive, for years now. I've been absolutely obsessed, and thank God my wife puts up with it. And she just sometimes she must have to tune me out, because I probably drive her nuts. But so I mean, I'm like, I'm going to outwork you, or outlearn and try to put it all together. And then even like the part I missed, one little part, and I'm like, I'll never do that again. I will never not take. If the car's not right, the sumbitch gets torn down, whether I work till midnight and then get up at 6 a.m. and go to work. It's got to be right. Yep. And shame on me for not one piece. One Heim made the whole rear end screwed up. Yep.
No, I get it. That's a good explanation. I think it helps. I feel like because racing is a sport where you're going to lose more often than you win. So everybody goes through some sort of a slump or time where they're like, man, we used to be good, we used to be decent, now we're shit and we can't figure it out. And like, it's just good motivation from Blake and from you now, kind of hearing that. Hopefully the viewers also enjoy that. But wanted to end that segment, if you will, with a quote. And today's show is not all about quotes, but it's relatable. In my past life of playing football for however many years I did, and playing the, one year professionally indoor, was, same thing as it relates to you. Wasn't the biggest, wasn't the fastest, wasn't the strongest, but one of the quotes I always held on to, similarly to what you said about outworking you, is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And that has stuck with me in my career and life. Like, you don't always have to be the best and have the best, but if you have that drive, shit, you're 80% there. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's good.
No, I 100% agree. And I don't know if the hard thing is you never know how talented you really are. Like, I don't know, but I can't compare myself to other guys because all the other factors, but what I can control, I try to. And if I ever get off of that, I'm like, when you've put in everything you can, because a lot of times I'll show up to the racetrack and I'm like, shit, I'm too tired to get in the car and drive, so it's like, well, drink a Dr. Pepper and suck it up, Buttercup, or something to get you. But once they throw the green, that's never an issue. I mean, unless you're dehydrated, that's the other thing. That's why I love the mountain ops.
That's what you did there.
Yeah. I mean, that's true though. You've seen me do it. I mean, I'm hammered before I get in the car. So,
I don't know if there's I'd have to look at the nutrition label, but if there's because you're only supposed to have 2 energy drinks a day, I don't know if there's a limit. We might have to ask Courtney about that. If Blair's consuming 10 hydrates a day,
there's no caffeine in those, so we're good on that.
But too much, I don't know, sodium. I'm just giving you help, but
I only drink 2 of them, and then it's straight water or whatever. But that way I'm flushing and not just getting ripped on vitamin C.
Yeah, there you go. That flavor that they came out with, part of that campaign, is actually really good. Can't think of it off the top of my head, but man, that shit was good.
I'm a sour watermelon guy now. That's my favorite.
Yeah,
but you like the sweet stuff.
Sidebar. I do. I don't know. I still think the lemonade one is the best. Just OG. Yeah, but it's refreshing. So definitely we'll be loading up. Going to Chalma, New Mexico in 4 weeks to be exact. Actually, 4 weeks is opening day for elk hunting here in Colorado. So definitely going to be bringing all the mountain ops stuff, but it's a great segue, I feel like, to discuss a little mountain ops. Thanks, Blair, for the cue there.
Check it out. Look at what I got.
Yeah, he's got an ammo can, so he's got.
And you know what?
Go ahead.
You know what goes in there now?
What's that?
So I carry my mountain ops. I've got another one for it, but I put my high speed tester in there. I've got all my shot gas tools.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that's a perfect thing. So pretty awesome.
It
This
is.
ammo can's tough and it's sealed, so it's watertight. I was like, man, perfect for all my specialty tools that go to the track. So I just started loading it up tonight. So I was like, Mountain Ops comes in handy at every turn in this racing deal.
The poor man's Pelican case. There you go. You can get them at mountainops.com. But yeah, seriously, obviously we talk about it in light and in seriousness. You guys, I know there's a lot of people that are outdoor enthusiasts. The weather's changing. If you're a hunter, outdoorsman, that is, if you're an archery hunter, that's happening right now. So hopefully you've got on board with this. Literally can change, as Blair can attest to, if you're down, dehydrated, lacking some type of nutrient or vitamin, like it literally will help you and get you over that hump. And, we talk about it all the time, so I'm not going to spend too much time, but we are avid users of it. If you're watching for the first time, just for watching the show, you can use a little discount code that we have, TS Podcast, get 20% off your order. Usually, depending on what kind of specials they got going on, does usually equate to at least free shipping plus maybe a little bit off your order. So, hey, shipping is a thing nowadays. And I feel like sometimes you pay more in shipping than you do for some products, which is unfortunate. So take advantage of this just by listening to this show. We'll play the ad, and then we're going to get right into talking about some points updates. And I did a little mathing over the weekend. We have a scenario here for you for the Western Plains. So let's get right into it.
Whether you're chasing checkered flags, chasing elk in the mountains, casting a line, or crushing early morning workouts in the gym, there's one name every high performer should know: Mountain Ops. This team fuels athletes, hunters, racers, and weekend warriors with the cleanest, hardest hitting supplements on the market. Let's be honest, this sport isn't for the soft. Late nights in the garage, long drives to the track, and hot evenings in the pits and in the car. We are built different. That's why we run on Mountain Ops. Their supplements hit hard, feel clean, and don't have all that junk you can't pronounce. From early mornings to late nights on race day, this is the stuff that keeps the crew moving and ready for the next lap. Want in? Head to mtnops.com, enter code TS Podcast at checkout, and get 20% off your order. That's right, enter code TSPODCAST at checkout for 20% off your order. You don't just want to show up, you want to win. Fuel like you mean it. Winners use Mountain Ops. Proud supporting partner of the Throwin Sliders podcast.
It's funny. We need to get that photo, Victory Lane photo of Blair and the gang wearing the Mountain Ops hats, so we can replace my picture from 2023 in that video because I'm a washed up retired driver. I have a funny story about that before we get into points. So very long story, but I was getting my center caps off my truck that have essentially welded themselves to the wheel, which was fun to get off this weekend. But the elderly neighbor came walking by, and, he's an old car guy, truck guy. And we just got to talking and asking me what I was doing. And then he saw the outlaw cart in the garage. And so he obviously walked up there and was checking it out. And so he's like, well, are you still running? I said, not really. And he's like, so you're semi-retired? And I was like, yeah, that's a good way to put it. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if I want to sell everything or be done with it or wait till the kid or potential more kids or older. I don't know what I'm going to do. I know you're shaking your head, but when you start to collect 13 different strollers, one for travel, one for this, and a wagon and all this kid stuff, like you quickly run out of room, and pretty soon stuff's going to start landing on the wing of the outlaw cart. And that's what I'm trying to prevent. So anyway, funny story there, but yes, we need to update the ad for Mountain Ops for next year to actually include more recent photos. I'll put my elk, hopefully from this year, a couple more fish, and some winning pictures of Blair, because I am outdated as they speak. I'm washed up now, so I just sit here and talk shit on Monday nights about racing now.
We'll get you. We need to get you back out there. You can do it.
Yeah, I'm sure I can do it. I
just mean we're just whether we have to lie to the wife or not. What you're doing, we can do it. So that's what I really meant. We can do it.
Yeah. I'll just tell her we're going to Shotgun Willie's for 2 days, and she'll think we're doing other stuff.
About it.
Yeah. All right. So currently in the ASCS Western Plains division, it's literally coming down to the wire. So you have the 6G of Brian Gossel sitting in first place with 1,179 points. And then Mr. Trimble is 40 back to him. And then Blair Cooper sitting in third. I won't go down the list to save time. But I did a little research on how much each race pays. And there's a few different sidebars, strings attached, if you will, but just basing this off of 150 points if you win. I think that was 140, 150. I think that's right. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to pull it up. Yeah. But anyway, I did the math, and basically depending on car count, in order for Gossel, Mr. Brian Gossel, to get upset or dethroned from the leading points position right now, he would have to finish 10th, and Mr. Trimble would have to win the race for a tie. Now, I don't know the rules and all that for a tie. I'd imagine it would go down to feature wins. Yeah, something like that. I'd have to read the rule book. So if Gossel finishes 11th or worse and Trimble wins, then Trimble would be your ASCS Western Plains champion of the year. So I was pretty proud of myself for digging through that. I took a lot of chicken scratch here on my notebook, but
you didn't even ask me to do it. You're like, I'll do this on my own.
Yeah, I just texted Blair and I was like, here's the scenario. And he's like, yeah, sure. Sounds good. But yeah, so obviously Gossel has 2 wins. Trimble has 1 on the page here, but 40 points back, it doesn't seem like that much. But if those two finish like they have been, top 2, top 3, bang, 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 every race, it's really hard. So all that to say, El Paso County Raceway this weekend for the Randy Roberts Memorial. If you're free, if you're not doing anything and you're in the area or not in the area, go buy a ticket, get you a beer and hot dog, go watch the race, because I assure you those two, hopefully they're listening, but I assure you those two very much understand what's at stake here. And they're going to be doing everything they can to try to top each other. And I'm, Blair's going to be in the mix too. He's got some stuff figured out, so he could come up there and spoil a potential championship. You never know. So unfortunately, Blair, like I said in the pre-show, 248 points back. You would need them to not even start, and some cheating to be going on with someone give you some extra points. But there's always next year, right? So
yeah.
We'll start with wins. Yeah.
I mean, for the kind of season it was, we tried to make most of the races, but
and that's second year in a row finishing in the top 3, right?
Yeah, and I locked up 3rd, and actually I was kind of excited. The Northern Plains this year too. Those are a lot of the bigger tracks. That's on the road. Some of those I felt like were harder. We'd never seen them. So Trimble did win that one. That's what I made a mistake. I thought he was leading both, but he won that one. DJ Brink, who we had on the show. Yeah, DJ Brink finished 2nd in that one, and I locked up 3rd there. So I was actually pretty proud of that. We had a little bit better average finishes on the road this year than at home. So it's really just my nightmare is Calhan. I haven't ran very well at Dodge City. Those 2 tracks are kind of the ones I need to figure out. So hopefully at least just be fast. That's all you can ask for.
Yeah, and so to your point, the Northern Plains, Trimble locked that one up a long time ago, 466 points to the good. So sorry DJ, but there was no coming back from that. So hats off to that team there. National Tour, it's kind of getting away. You got Sam Hafferty Jr. sitting in 1st, and then Blake Hahn, who we just had on last week, he's 199 points back. But they still have, let me just pull this up.
7 to go.
It's let me scroll down here. We are, what's this weekend? The 20th
or something. Yeah.
So like I mentioned earlier, they're at Peevely this weekend. Badass. Wish we could maybe tune into that one and watch. Sure. And then they're handful left. It's possible, right? I mean, there's 200 points back is a pretty big gap, but you never know what can happen. So definitely,
especially with Hafferty he's been on it this year. I mean, he won 6 in a row or something, but he's been fast just all year. But that's a good battle. I mean, I'd hope it'd be close, but that's a long season for those guys. I mean, 50 races or something.
It's a lot. Yeah. So that's kind of your recap there. So I don't know, Blair, if you had any more to say, but other than get your ass in the seat this weekend at El Paso and see what happens.
Yeah, you're not going to be there, right? You can't make this one.
Yeah, the wife's going on a bachelorette trip, and I am solo dad, and I don't think the wife would appreciate me taking old Timber down to El Paso. And
that was a thing I thought about earlier when we were talking about these national tour guys and attitudes and stuff, and the same way, but those guys can fire their crew chief. I mean, I'm not going to get rid of my wife if she misses on stagger or something, so you got to be nice to you. Maybe I have to be a little nicer, but He checks all the nuts and bolts. So I try to keep everybody in good spirits because they're not leaving, unless they just quit helping.
Yeah, maybe I could ask Brian Gossel if I could bring the pack and play, and she could take a nap and sleep in the nice rig there while you're racing.
Hell yeah.
All the noise, I don't know if she would. She's a pretty light sleeper. So yes, unfortunately, I will miss out this weekend. It's unfortunate. Wish I could be there with you guys and helping out for little as I do, but always a good time to be around it and the sights, the smells, and everything. So yeah, best of luck to you, and definitely going to be keeping an eye on those top two and what shakes out there. So
there's it's funny that I've been able to hang around you in the element at the racetrack too, as we've gotten to be better friends and know each other more, and you being hanging around is we have probably different personalities in some ways, but at the track you're the same way. Like you want to have your hands on like I could just tell how your car was probably prepped too. Is that how you felt? Like it is hard to even let go of some things?
Yeah, and I think I don't know if it was in the pre-show or on the actual live show last week, but I respect that when I'm doing something on your car, like you want to double check it or you want to come physically touch it, because I'm the same way, and like to a fault sometimes. Thank you, Cindy. But I'm the same way. Like I prep the car during the week, and then if any adjustments are going on, I want to know about it. I want to see it, and it's not a trust thing. It's just you're anal about it. And I think you and I, like you said, are very meticulous and similar in the same way that, everything is a certain way. And I think that, in large part makes people successful, because you don't just want someone wrenching on your car and you get in and be like, oh, what'd you do? Like, oh, I don't know. I didn't write it down. Well, that's not good. So yeah, I mean, to a fault. And, if my wife and my mom and my old crew were sitting here right next to me, they're like, yeah, he's a what sometimes when it comes to that, but it's, it is what it is.
You're a little more emotional about it, right? Like, do you take it hard? I mean,
in what respect?
Can you just let it go? I mean, you made mention of that earlier, that you carry it with you. Is that something that, like, if you have a bad night, is it, because obviously you're a competitive guy playing football and everything too, so you understand the sports side of it. Do you have to decompress and walk away? I mean, because there are a lot of different personalities. Like I always try to do it my way because that works for me. But are you like, could you just go sit in the truck and yell by yourself and then you feel better?
I wasn't quite like that, but and it's funny you bring up football, because football, it did stick with me because basically, if you think about it, you got a 50-50 chance of winning the game, right? There might be 60-40 depending on who you're playing or how shitty you might be or whatever, but 50-50 chance. But in racing, I'm not good at statistics, but it's way lower than that. Like you're down into the single digits sometimes of percent of winning. So like I didn't take it as hard in racing if you lost, but like on the, coming back from Pueblo, that's a 2.5 hour drive for us. So all the way on the whole way back, similar to what you spoke about. What could we have done better? Why did we get beat, or this, that, or the other? So I didn't, and it was always like thanking the crew, like, hey guys, like I know we didn't perform like this, but it wasn't your fault, like whatever. So like I would feel like the football part of me, I held on to it a little more, just because you know what your team is capable of, and if they didn't perform, it sticks with you a little bit. But when you're inside that car, there's really no one to blame except for yourself. So yeah, it was quick lived. Like some stuff, my wife could attest if she's watching, like some stuff I do hold on to, and that's, every day is a new opportunity to get better. Right. So mainly with work, but
yeah, it's just funny because I watched that. This was a couple years ago. It was that Chili Bowl documentary. And I saw like T-Mez. So even some of his videos versus like a Justin Grant. So T-Mez is riding around on a one wheel, smoking a cigarette, talking shit, in the pits and like chilling. But he gets in the car, he's an animal. Right. And then Justin Grant, he missed, I don't know what happened, but something happened. And
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And he had to, he's slamming the door on the trailer and all that. And I'm like, well, obviously he's at the top of his game too. He's at the top of USAC wins list all time. So whatever works for guys.
You bring up the point about like slamming helmets. Like I've never done that even in football or racing, like, cause I look at it as same thing with like, if you ask my wife, back again to that point, like me and my personal vehicle, I never speed. I never do any of that. And my excuse when I was racing was, well, I have a race car. I can go as fast as I want on Saturday night. Why do I got to do it on the freeway? And to me too, it's like, if you get busted, you're just throwing money away. And like, same thing with like throwing helmets, like that shit's expensive. And I'm just going to go, even in high school, like it's not my money, but I'm not going to go slamming stuff because you just look bad. I mean, I will say when I first moved down to Denver, competitive kickball, drink in hand, got a little feisty there.
Oh, yeah.
But
I love
that's
kickball.
yeah,
Anyway,
I do too. But I retired from that. So
me too.
yeah, when you got these young 21-year-olds that are standing in the baseline and throw you an elbow as you go by, and then I start talking shit on third, but it's just bad for everybody. So I had to retire from that. But yeah, no, it's I feel like as a pedestrian or someone else in the pits, like you and I, if we were to see that in another trailer, it's like, man, that's a bad look for whoever, and it might be your friend, like, you probably shouldn't be doing that. And I think we carry ourselves in the same respect. We might be pissed off and everything, but you're not going to see it come out right then and there. Like you said, you might go scream at the steering wheel on your way home, but you're not going to express it because it's just bad for everybody. So
maybe I'm just older now. I don't know how I would have been because I didn't.
Yeah, you old ass. You got made fun of last week. Shit, I didn't mean to call him out either. I was just
Jesus.
He's only 4 years older than me. Shit. So
I know.
we're both old.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know if you wanted to give one last shout out to.
Yeah. In fact, I talked to Sam today. So Hamilton Motorsports, they're obviously going to have the midgets. It's open wheel night. It's their championship night at El Paso County too. So if you didn't make a show this year, you need to get your hiney in the seats up there. It's probably going to be a really big crowd. Should be nice weather. Track will be fast. That new dirt they put in there, man, it holds moisture. So back to the drawing board, and hopefully I learned my lesson there. But yeah, midgets, you got lightning sprints, a lot of championships and stuff, 600s. Yeah. So it's going to be a great show. It's one of my favorite shows of the year, the fair race at El Paso, and the championship night, all open wheel. So if you're a fan of open wheel, there's no excuse not to be there. But yeah, Hamilton Motorsports, they'll have tires and fuel. In fact, I'm bringing my drum to fill up. So if you got stuff for the off season, start getting ready. And then they'll even be, they're getting shipments in. So we'll get the commercial up for them here. It's just been really busy, but yeah, go check them out. You can't miss it. They got the Hoosier stuff and the trailer out there. So they should have a bunch of stuff. And if you need to, if you can't get a hold of them, get a hold of us, message me or something. I'll put you in touch at the right place. But otherwise, it's the Hamilton Motorsports racing page on Facebook. You can find them there. Anyway, out of Denver. So they'll be at the track, but otherwise you can get stuff ahead and have it ready. And even in the off season, you can wrap your tires, mount them up, have everything ready to go. Cause I know it's so funny. It's going to be middle of September.
Yep.
And before you blink, you'll be like, shit, the car's not done. So don't procrastinate.
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, hopefully we can do the trade show swap thing again. That was fun in the off season. We got a couple more episodes yet before we kind of send it off, and we'll try to do some stuff in the off season, and we'll talk more about that as we get deeper into the kind of the end of the season. But yeah, yeah, just grateful for everybody that's kind of jumped on board with this. We're trying to give you guys good content week in, week out, bringing on guests and everything that we do. So we appreciate you guys watching, tuning in, all the engagement, on our posts that we just post regularly on our social. You guys are always fun to interact with and get a good laugh in anything we post. So we appreciate that. And yeah, hopefully, I don't think we have a guest lined up for next week because Blair will be kind of winding down his season. Yeah. So give him a little break, but I'll be in lovely Virginia next week, but we'll do another episode, of course, and just kind of recap the champion of the Western Plains and Blair's eventful, well, hopefully not eventful night, but yeah, just recapping kind of like what we did tonight. So make sure you tune in 7:30 Mountain, or if you're on the East Coast, like I will be, 9:30 Eastern. I learned a good lesson about time zones. So I, like in work, my project's obviously on the East Coast, and I always put ET, Eastern time. But I learned that so I think it's March through, I can't remember specifically, but it's actually Eastern Daylight Time. And then after that month passes, then it goes back to ET. So I was all screwed up. But yeah, 9:30 EDT. Yeah, you learn something new every day. You watch us and you learn all kinds of shit. So anyway, yeah, I guess on behalf of Blair, we appreciate you guys. And yeah, get your ass in the seat this weekend. That's how we keep these local tracks alive, and go root for your favorite driver. And since I'm not going to be there, go support Blair and after the race, and just surround his pit so he can't leave till 3 a.m. and get you some autographs.
I will back out either way. So
no pedestrian is safe.
I will. Yeah. Last time was the latest we stayed because I got to give a shout out to Ryan Rader's family for having cheeseburgers. I thought it was Gossel's, and I kind of looked and I said,
"Is that who that was?"
Oh yeah, and trust me, buddy, I hadn't eaten all day, and I went over there and I was like, "Hey, knock, knock, can I have a cheeseburger? And they brought us in, hooked us up. So that family's always so sweet to us too. And everybody's so nice. I just love racing with these guys. And I will say, though, we didn't finish that story before we go. You want to talk about nerve-wracking shit is when you've got 2 to go, you're leading and the caution comes out and the track's changed. I knew Adam was breathing down my neck. So it was a fun, but we even touched tires once, and he threw a couple sliders on me, and for us battling together, always a lot of fun. So hopefully we got more of that this weekend, and Brian will be back in the mix, and hopefully Merritt and all those guys. Raider, I don't think Booze is going to be there, but we should have a decent car count. I know a lot of guys are winding down, but come out and support the show. And I really think next season is going to be even bigger. So sprint car racing, hopefully they can get the midgets built back up. They struggled a little bit this season, but 600s there's always a ton of them usually. 90% plus the time they put on a good show in the lightning sprints. They've been picking car counts back up. So open wheel should be wild.
Yeah. Bummed I'm not going to be able to be there, but I'll definitely be following along. Me and Little Timber will be, is it going to be on Dirt Vision?
Yeah. No, it'll be on IMCA TV under Belm Steel. So
gotcha. Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, there you go. If you can't be there live, definitely check that out. But yeah, for us tonight, we appreciate you guys tuning in. And as always, if you're racing this weekend, keep it rubber side down, keep throwing those sliders, and we'll catch you next Monday. So till next time, keep throwing those sliders. See you. This was another production of Scrubbin' Tires Media. The Throwin' Sliders podcast is hosted by Blair Cooper and Brandon Hall. Video and audio was created by Bryce Holcomb. Please like, share, and leave a 5-star review. And as always, keep throwing those sliders.